If you're anything like me, you'll hate working in silence. It just makes work that little less enjoyable. And like me, you would have listened to countless different music genres to try and find that magic switch which will make us that bit more productive while working. And at least for me, I haven't hit that magic formula yet, and therefore I thought I would put some research in to try and work out what music, if any, would be most effective to listen to while studying. So if you want to save hours of scrolling through papers and articles, here's my little breakdown of the research that I've done, and I hope it helps anyone asking the same questions as me. I'm Rajan, also known as the Dentist Raj, and I hope you like the video. I always like to give a summary of the video at the start. I understand that not everyone can watch a 10-minute YouTube video, and so the answer in short is that yes, music can help us be more productive whilst studying. Music is able to help us focus on tasks, it can help us relax, and it can also aid endurance during long-term study sessions. However, music also poses the issue of distraction, and therefore it's all about finding the right type of music to balance putting you in a good mood and making you that bit more productive whilst not being too distracting. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. We'll first look into what music actually does to our brains, before then going into talking about lyrical music such as hip-hop music, R&B music, pop music, electro rock, and then we'll go on to talk about non-lyrical music such as lo-fi, instrumental, classical music. We'll have a look at what these different music genres do to our brain and how they make us more productive or less productive during work. I'll give you a brief overview of my technique and my outlook of using music during work, and in what situations I would listen to what music. Please leave a like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video. It really goes a long way to motivating me to bring more content out for you guys, and leave a comment to what music you like to listen to while you're working. Firstly, different music affects people differently, and that's a common theme. The effects that hip-hop music will have on me will be very different to the effects that hip-hop music will have on you. And it's heavily to do with what you associate with that music genre and your past experiences with that music genre. Generally, however, the underlying message is that music that we enjoy actually makes us more productive because it stimulates the release of hormones such as oxytocin and dopamine, which are key hormones responsible for a feeling of pleasure. And this therefore makes us better at studying and more productive because we're in a better mood, we're more enthusiastic, and therefore we are more willing to take information in and learn. Research also suggests that music improves memorization because being in a good mood actually improves memory formation and retention. However, it is incredibly dependent on the type of music that you listen to, because on the flip side, music does hold the ability to distract us. When we work, we study, we use something in our brain called the working memory. And what the working memory is it's a cognitive system which temporarily holds information, which allows us to manipulate it and apply it to questions or study. However, listening to music, especially music with lyrics, actually stimulates our brain to try and process those lyrics and actually understand them. And it's essentially, I'm sure you guys all know, impossible to listen to music with lyrics without trying to process them, right? Without trying to process the words that are being said. And therefore this disrupts, distracts, and reduces the capacity of our working memory, which obviously makes us less productive. And therefore we're always trying to find that balance for music which doesn't distract us, so it doesn't disrupt our working memory, but also puts us in a good mood so we are more enthusiastic to work. So let's begin to discuss certain types of music and what kind of effect they have on our brains. So first, let's look at lyrical music. What does lyrical music do to our brains? Well, as aforementioned, it completely depends person to person on how you perceive that music genre and what kind of mood you are in when you are listening to that genre. I love hip-hop music, it's one of my favourite music genres, but I associate hip-hop music with going out or getting pumped up. And what this does is it stimulates my brain quite a lot. And for music that stimulates our brain, it essentially causes an increased release of cortisol, and this in turn increases stress levels in our body. And this is incredibly distracting, makes us less relaxed, and doesn't put us in the right frame of mind to work. It's similar for me with rock music. My favourite music genre is R&B, and this is the music that will put me in the best mood and therefore make me most enthusiastic to work. I associate R&B music with chilling, with relaxing. This therefore reduces my stress levels, it reduces cortisol release because it's not stimulating my brain as much because I'm calm and I'm relaxed, and therefore this would be quite a good music to listen to while working. But when listening to lyrical R&B music, there may be certain moments of the song or certain lyrics or certain specific tracks which stimulate your brain, whether that's a track or lyric which triggers an emotion because of a memory or simply because you like the lyrics. And this brain stimulation therefore distracts you from working. So therefore, when I want to study really hard and I actually want to get my head down and focus for a long period of time, R&B music and hip-hop music, even though they're my two favourite genres, aren't necessarily the best music genres to listen to. So if you really want to listen to lyrical music when you're working, you have to take a step aside and genuinely think how you perceive that specific music genre. If it stimulates your brain a lot, if it's not relaxing, it doesn't just chill you out, then it's not going to be effective and you're not going to work productively whilst using it. So if my favourite genre of music is still distracting me, what can I listen to? Well, what we can do is take out the major distraction of the music, and that is the lyrics. And this is where we come on to non-lyrical music. So our non-lyrical music is going to be divided up into 4 sections. We're going to talk about instrumentals, we're going to be talking about classical music, we're going to be talking about lo-fi, and we're going to be talking about natural sounds. So we're going to start with instrumental music, the obvious place to start. And in theory, instrumental music should be the best of both worlds because it gives us our favourite genre, the one that keeps us most relaxed, the one that gives us the most enthusiasm to work whilst removing the lyrics and therefore removing the distraction. So we're getting the most enthusiasm, the most dopamine to be excited to work, stay relaxed so we're not distracted, and no lyrics to actually cause the distraction. However, it is very easy when you listen to certain instrumentals, for me R&B beats, R&B melodies, to associate those melodies and those beats to certain memories, and this is going to stimulate our brain and distract us again. And so yes, instrumentals can work, but it's completely down to personal preference, and you need to be honest with yourself as to whether that instrumental of your desired music genre is still distracting you. So what about classical music? I know a lot of people who listen to classical music whilst working. Well, firstly, I just want to dispel a theory called the Mozart effect. There's a theory in the 1990s where if you listen to the Mozart Sonata piano in D major, it would actually enhance mental performance. Basically, this guy called Gordon Shaw and one of his graduate students, they actually tested using that specific sonata on college students to see if their IQ would go up, and it went up to, at some cases, 9 points. This was obviously reported, the press jumped on it and started saying that if you get your children to listen to Mozart Sonata piano in D major, then you will make them more clever. This obviously sparked a great deal more research around the Mozart effect, and what it essentially found was that the phenomenon was false, and there was no concrete evidence to prove that listening to Mozart or classical music did indeed make you more intelligent or help you grasp information better. However, what research does show is that classical music actually calms us down, and this obviously reduces our cortisol levels, which makes us less stressed. And this relaxation actually lowers our heart rate, removes nerves, and gives us the confidence to go out there and study and learn. Therefore, it's actually been proven that listening to classical music actually puts you in a mental state which is more effective to work. But again, if you're an individual who perceives classical music in a negative manner that stimulates your brain, it's not going to be productive for you. If you are looking for a classical musician who makes incredible study music, check the South Korean pianist Yuruma out. He's got amazing pieces which are commonly used as study music. Next, let's move on to lo-fi music. Now, lo-fi actually stands for low fidelity, and it's seen a bit of a meteoric rise over the last 2 years. Now, low fidelity music actually refers to a recording which is technically flawed compared to the live performance, and this could be technically flawed through background noise, through hum, through reverberation. But what these technical flaws do is create a more aesthetically pleasing sound. So low fidelity music, lo-fi music, was actually founded to stimulate our brains to a productive level where we can work, whilst also removing natural stresses as distraction from our brains. And what this does is it actually wraps our brains in a soft and predictable sound, and this causes our brains to forecast the next notes or the next lines of music. And with our brains subconsciously predicting and being right in predicting what music is going to follow in the next 5 to 10 seconds, this actually removes all external distractions. Lo-fi music has literally therefore been produced to help us relax, to remove distractions, and if required, focus, and therefore it is a great music to use if you want to be productive and listen to whilst you're studying. And finally, we have natural sounds such as a river flowing, a waterfall falling, rain falling, or wind blowing through the trees. And these are sounds which our brain has automatically sorted as non-threatening noises. This therefore reduces cortisol release to very low levels, it makes us calmer, reduces stress, and increases relaxation, which is great because that removes distraction. Therefore, again, these sounds are good to reduce external distractions, but what they can do is make you incredibly relaxed to the point where you actually become tired and sleepy. And therefore, if I was already tired trying to get through work, I would never listen to natural sounds. Again, natural sounds is all down to personal preference. If you find that they relax you a lot and they're incredibly calming and peaceful, and that calming environment stimulates you to do more work, then it's a great option for you. Now let's talk about silence really quickly. I just want to rule out silence right now, because if you're watching this video, you're at this point, you don't want to work in silence. Unless you're trying to practice in exam conditions, which is absolutely fine, silence is the way to go. Or if you genuinely prefer silence as a working environment, that's absolutely fine also. But there are some negative areas to working in silence that can increase external stresses. It doesn't block out any distractions. If you don't have the luxury of living on your own, which I'm sure a lot of you don't, you can't block out those external noises that are coming from your roommate or from your family. Therefore, there's been absolutely no proof that silence actually helps productivity. Like, how weird is it just listening to me talk right now without any music? So now getting on to the conclusion, my technique, what I do, well, I love music. I absolutely love music. I DJ, and there's no way that I could ever work for a long period of time without listening to music. It's a massive part of my life. I have to do it. However, I understand that I can't listen to certain music genres when I want to do certain tasks, and therefore I divide the music I listen to according to what task I'm doing. So if I'm doing an incredibly challenging piece of work which requires a lot of active recall, for me it's just not feasible to listen to lyrical music, even R&B music that I love, because I'll get far too distracted. Or say I'm doing my dissertation or I'm revising for really important exams, I'll always listen to instrumental music, and the instrumental music that I'm really enjoying at the moment is lo-fi. And what this will do, as discussed, is it will stimulate my brain to a level which makes me productive without adding any of the distraction. However, if I'm doing a less challenging piece of work, one that doesn't require 100% of my focus, then it's likely that I will probably listen to R&B music. So if I'm doing something like editing this YouTube video, it's likely that I will listen to R&B music while I'm doing it, because it will make me more enthusiastic, it'll put me in a better mood, it'll put me in a good mood, get more dopamine release, more oxytocin release, and will make me more enthusiastic to actually bring out the video for you guys and edit that video. And so ultimately, after the research that I did, as with most things, there's no correct answer, it's all about your personal preference. There's no shying away from the fact that lyrical music is distracting, and trying to peak your productivity by listening to your favourite rapper or singer often just isn't feasible. So try and find an instrumental artist that really relaxes you and you like listening to, which won't stimulate your brain to wonder what's coming next. And that's when you'll be at your productive best, and that's why listening to music means you can be more effective with your studying than working in silence. Drop a comment to what music you like to listen to, leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I'm the Dentist Raj, and I'll see you guys next time.